Hey everybody, I am back. Okay. Um so yeah, as usual, sorry for not uploading. Um you know, just as per usual, there's just not much to talk about in terms of the realm of games that I play. But not to blame the games either. I've just sort of had a kind of a lack of motivation lately to make videos and you know to do all that stuff. But I'm hoping that changes soon. Of course, it seems like that the new Batman game will get announced soon, but obviously we keep saying that. We keep saying, "Oh, they'll reveal it at the VGAs, they'll reveal it at the State of Play, they'll reveal it here or there." So instead of speculating when that's going to happen, we'll just say it'll eventually happen. But I want today's video to be, and this isn't scripted or anything. I'm just sort of talking. Let me get into sort of just what's been going on in my mind about Injustice Mobile, and this does tie into the Batman game and sort of the future. There's a lot of MK11 stuff I could talk about too, but I think information regarding like MK11 and the future of that game and what's next for like Injustice 3 and whatnot, I think that information is not far from getting revealed, so I probably just have to wait a little bit on that. But let me get into what I've sort of noticed. So typically it seems this video, by the way, is about Injustice and the new Batman game. So Injustice Gods Among Us hasn't been updated in an entire year now, which is nuts. And I kind of spent a lot of this time just sort of being annoyed, being like, well, where the hell's our update? Where the hell is the game, But it seemed like a clear sign that the game was over. But the thing is that if this game was truly over, they probably would have cut it, I noticed the same thing with when they introduced Breakthrough, when you can break through your Elite 7 characters to Elite 10. I realized, I'm like, there's no reason to do that unless they're going to introduce something, better than if they're going to introduce, a component to the game in which your characters need to be better than Elite 7, right? And that did end up being metal characters. Metal characters, when fully maxed out, are devastating because they're extremely strong because they're better than gold cards. And they're just animals, and they're very hard to get. It takes a very long time. But like, so I'm gonna crack at my little theory here, morally speculation, from sort of two angles: the design philosophy of what we have in the game currently versus external factors, what I perceive to be happening behind the scenes based on things that happened in the past and all that. So from as far as the game is concerned, it just seems peculiar that right before they would stop for a year, they would introduce metal cards, that they would very specifically make them so hard to get. They would have to introduce a new mode in which you collect currency, which is still very scarce. The whole thing was just designed to take a long time, and you'd probably have to ask the question, why design something in which, hey, we're gonna put something in the game, it's gonna take you a long time to collect this stuff, and then we're not gonna update this game for an entire year. But so yeah, that's just one part of it. So why introduce that? If this game is truly done, why introduce metal cards? Because here's the thing about cutting a game off. When they cut off Immortals, they cut off, everything in the game. Like, you can't buy anything now. You can't play challenges. You can't play online. I think the only thing you can do is play regular campaign battles Just yeah, and that's useless. I don't think you can buy more characters. So when they cut off one of these games, the game is done. The only thing you can do is participate in like computer battles, of which you probably don't even get like a reward for it. So when the game is done, it's done. It's not like you can it's not like you can continue collecting characters and all that. It's just when the game is done, it is done. It's like you might as well just delete it. It's history. But clearly that's not the case here. They introduced something that's going to take you a long time to collect and to work towards and all that. And then they also stopped updating the game for a year. So what do I think is happening? Well, on the external factor side of things, I got to take you back to Arkham Origins. So NetherRealm Studios created the Arkham Origins mobile game when that game released. And there's really not much to that. It's just, last time WB Montreal made a Batman game, NetherRealm created a mobile game for that game. And now let's, you go forward, WB Montreal is most likely releasing a Batman, Court of Owls game, or an Ultimate Batman game, a reboot, which some newer leaks have suggested that it's not going to be an Arkham game. It's just going to be a totally new Batman experience, which I'm actually very okay with, because the Arkham story is kind of over. It had a beginning, it had a middle, and it had an end, So, honestly, Arkham kind of has its whole story, beginning, middle, end, and, the end wasn't that great, in my opinion, but it still was a pretty good game. So, So, what am I getting at? I am getting at, well, there's evidence to show that last WB Montreal game had a mobile game developed by NetherRealm Studios. New WB Montreal Batman game is coming out. Injustice Gods Among Us Mobile just so happens to have halted development for about a year's worth of time, give or take. I would assume that they're probably gonna start, developing Injustice 1 again. Now seems like a good time. And some further evidence really quick that Injustice 1 isn't done. Around July, they decided to add all the breakthrough characters that you couldn't previously break through. They added them just out of nowhere. I mean, I'm no game developer, but I'm pretty sure that's like a decision you have to make, in game. Like a developer would have had to input that information, on the server or whatever to unlock something to happen later. Unless it was timed, unless they went, in 6 months from now, we're going to unlock the ability to do this, and no people will be involved, I'm no developer, but I'm pretty sure someone had to, remember that this game exists, right? And create a graphic image, a graphic design of some breakthrough characters, and with the text, you can now break through more characters, whatever. And, same thing around Christmas. They had a couple Christmas boxes, and they had another graphic design image that I don't think I've ever seen before, that I guess they had to make for this. And here's the other thing. I kind of feel stupid about this now, but I keep saying to the NetherRealm people, where's Injustice 1? I haven't really considered until now the fact that the people who work on Injustice 1 are probably under NDAs because they're developing a mobile version of an unannounced Batman game. And that is probably why nobody can say anything about it, because they went, oh yeah, we're just not working on Injustice because we're developing a new Batman mobile game to tie into this unannounced game. So I kind of feel stupid for not realizing that, because there's precedent for that. There's precedent for that type of thing, and that kind of has me excited, because that means we're going to get a new mobile game made by NetherRealm, probably slightly Injustice inspired, as Arkham Origins was, Arkham Origins Mobile really was just sort of, it was just sort of Injustice, but you fight, thugs, and then you get to a boss battle where you fight, one of the villains from the game, and it was sort of just like that. So it would be actually really cool if this Batman mobile game was once again Injustice 1 or Injustice 2, but you fight thugs and then you fight a boss character, and then maybe there's something to collect. Maybe you can play as the bosses when you beat them. Or maybe you play as the good guys, like Batman, Robin, Catwoman, Batgirl, did I say Nightwing yet? Red Hood. You collect these, maybe you have to fight a boss and then you unlock Robin or whatever. And then maybe that's how they do it. And then maybe there's a mode where you can do hero versus villains or something. That would be really cool. And if I were to take a guess, I would have to say that this probably makes the most sense. So all in all, I've come to the conclusion that I think Injustice 1 has halted development because the question is, there's a guy at NetherRealm, the mobile division, Mick Pack. He works on MK Mobile and Injustice 2 Mobile, and I don't think that group is working on this game because they put out MK Mobile and Injustice 2 updates on a really regular basis. They don't seem to be, busy working on other games because they really do put out a consistent amount of content for those two games. But Injustice 1 has been totally halted. Immortals last year got canceled. So that makes me think, yeah, they're probably working on something. And the other question is that game going to be Injustice 3 mobile? And I highly doubt it. I'm pretty sure they would continue Injustice 2 or just rename it to Injustice 3. Or just, rename it Injustice or something. Yeah, what I love about Injustice 1 and 2 is that they're totally opposite experiences, and you can just choose one, basically. You can just pick which version you like better. Right now I'd pick Injustice 2 because Injustice 1 hasn't been updated in a million years. And it's lacking. Injustice 2 has received many modes that I wish were in the first game. The thing is, I'm pretty sure they realized that people really did like Injustice 1 a lot more than Injustice 2. But Injustice 2 is the one that's receiving new content and is the one that's receiving, feedback, and they're constantly, listening and making changes. So obviously, I play Injustice 1 from time to time, but there's nothing to be excited about in that game because there's no crazy modes. There's nothing, to be excited about because the game has totally been halted for the past year. And yeah, but so before I end the video, let me say what I think is about to happen. I've been saying this for a while. Every time they do something in MK Mobile, typically, and previously in Immortals before they canceled it, but every time they do something in those games, typically it tends to happen in Injustice 1 also. So what I think is going to happen, so what happened to MK Mobile, right? MK Mobile as an app worked just like Injustice 1 does. And by that I mean you download the game onto your device, and I'm no technical expert, but I think you're not always directly connected to the server. As in, you can still play the game if you're not connected to the server. Where MK Mobile differs, and Injustice 2, is that if you're not connected to the server, then you cannot play the game at all. I think if you're connected to no data at all, you just cannot play the game at all. They're going to make those changes to Injustice 1 eventually. And yeah, I think they're going to make Injustice 1 like how MK Mobile is, where it's going to be, connected to a server all the time. And they're going to do what they did in MK Mobile, where they upgraded gold characters to the higher tier in that game, which is Diamond. So I think they're going to do the same thing. I think they're going to make gold characters, they're going to turn them into metal characters, and then I think they're just going to do that constantly. They're either going to upgrade characters, or they're going to introduce new ones with the new tier, and they're probably going to maybe introduce new modes time to time, but I think they want to keep this game different from Injustice 2. Now, this is all speculation, I have no idea, but that's what I think is going to happen. So, that's it. That's my theory and speculation. Yeah, that's it. So, if you enjoyed, thank you very much. And I will try to make some more videos. I don't know what to make videos on right now, but, we'll see, I guess. So, thank you very much. Keep on fighting. Have a fantastic day.